It's another special edition episode here as we are live. Well, not live, but we are here on YouTube, Substack, TikTok, wherever you get podcasts, potential forms of media content. We are here and we are going to break down our first edition of the NBA title bubble. Rules that apply. Only one rule. No more than 8 teams can be in the NBA title bubble at once, and it's the first version. We are officially just past the halfway point of the regular season. Let's give out our first NBA title bubble. No order here, but we're going to start with the Boston Celtics, currently the number one team in the NBA. The outlying numbers here are all sensational. Offensive rating, top 5. Defensive rating, top 5. Number one net team by a wide margin. They have the top net. They have over their gap between the number one net and number two, which we'll get to them later, is about as far as, like number like 2 to 6 or something along those lines. It's a pretty distinct gap that they have separated themselves in some advanced metrics. Some of their numbers here that I'm a fan of on the season, they shoot the three ball and they shoot it well. Now it's a hit or miss for me because of what they do when it gets to these late game scenarios. Their clutch record this year, they've been in 21 of their games have been in clutch. They're 13-8. And that is something that worries me a little bit, is that if this team isn't blowing you out, do they have what it takes to close games? And that's going to be something when we get through the regular season and get to the postseason that I am worried about, because there have been issues over the last few years, especially last year. There have been a couple games this year where they haven't been able to close late. Golden State, where they just let it get away by taking dumbass shots. So many threes they took against the Warriors. And then one that they recently, it wasn't, partial shot selection and whatnot, but against the Nuggets. It was a close game, and Denver beat them by 1. So can they get good shots consistently is something that I am looking out for, and it's something that will, I think, be the most determining factor between them winning or losing a championship. The Denver Nuggets are there right as well. They're 31-15. They're currently the third seed in the East, or in the West. 14-11 on the road, and I thought, that's interesting. But then you look at last year's standings, and they were barely, I think, right at 500 on the road last year, and obviously that didn't matter, especially when it came to the playoffs. They dominated at home. They won games that they needed to on the road in every series. Offensively, it has not been the well-oiled machine that you would expect. They have the 8th best net rating. They are 15th in points per game on the season, just inside the top 10 in offensive rating, and middle of the pack in defensive rating. They do share the ball moves, and they have the best assist to turnover ratio in the NBA, which I think are important, because what the Nuggets did last season was they were basically a buzzsaw when it came to efficiency and, checking boxes late in games of getting any shot they wanted. And the fact that they're willing to share the ball, make the extra pass, and you can count on their best players, Jamal Murray, of course, the best player currently in the world, Nikola Jokic, to not turn the ball over. Those are key. But when they did beat the Celtics last week, I did ask myself, are we just delaying the inevitable? That no matter what, the Nuggets, as long as they roll out Jokic and Murray, and if the others are healthy in that top 5, 6, 7, will any of it matter? The Oklahoma City Thunder. This team, people are going to say they're too young. They are currently the second youngest roster in the NBA. I say to you, that is a fact. But they have currently a top 5 player alive, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There are not 5 guys I would take right now before I would take the point guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. If it wasn't for Joel Embiid being the best offensive center we have seen since Wilt Chamberlain, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be a unanimous MVP candidate. Think of that. He's going to be a bona fide first-team All-NBAer, as long as health stands. He has been the driving force for what currently is top. Going into tonight, they were the number one seed in the Western Conference with wins, big time wins this season. Shea is amazing. Jalen Williams, not, everyone knows who I'm talking about. J Dub, Santa Clara J Dub. He is just, oh my gosh, everything. His shooting, off the dribble stuff that he can do. J Dub is a sensational player, and I think their second best player, which is no slight at their third best player, Chet Holmgren. Jalen Williams being their second best player makes Chet Holmgren being their third best player such a massive advantage because Holmgren, as a rookie, he is a rookie, he has stepped on into the league and he's one of the 50, 60 best guys easily already. 17 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, 2.5 blocks a game, just over half a steal a game. Holmgren is a guy who can do it on both ends. He can put the ball on the deck. He can shoot. Those three are awesome. And then you add in the depth that they have. Offensively, this team has been awesome. They have been just under 122 points a game. It's third in the league. They have a top 5 net rating in offense and in defense, which with a team this young, they have active guys that guard like Dort, who's a sensational point of attack defender. Williams and Holmgren do a lot of stuff as well. And they are second in net rating behind the Celtics. They have the second best field goal percentage in the league. They also have the second best 3-point field goal percentage in the league, which is something not many people probably expected them to have because Shea used to be a spotty shooter. Giddey's not a great shooter. Lou Dort's up and down. But they have been the second best team shooting the ball from behind the arc this year. And it's not on a lot of attempts. Another reason for bigs and size, they are currently 28th in rebounds per game, which is a padlock stat. We saw it, and listen, it's a totally different version of them than what they were in that play-in game last year against the Timberwolves. But they got destroyed on the glass by the Wolves in that play-in game. Presti is a genius. He knows this. I believe wholeheartedly that they're going to do the right thing and move off some of those guys to get another piece because you never know. You never know in this league what your window is. If anybody knows it, it's the Thunder. Next up, the Milwaukee Bucks, 31-13, currently second in the East. Offensively, they've been amazing. 124.6 points per game, second in the league. Third best offensive rating. Defensively, a nightmare. 20th defensive rating. They have the third best shooting percentage and the 7th best 3-point shooting percentage. And they are also the best team in the clutch, which is an interesting statistic. They have found a way to steal some games. Dame Lillard, logo 3 at the buzzer. Bingo. To win. That's a game. That Spurs game, back and forth. What a game that was. They have been pretty much they have handled their business against almost anybody except the Indiana Pacers this season, oddly enough. And the one time that we really got a chance to see them in Boston go at it, Boston was coming off a second half of a back-to-back, and Boston lost. I love Doc Rivers. He clearly has some flaws. I think he's definitely going to be better than Adrian Griffin. I think there's some stuff that he can do that can unlock this offense some more. Just think about this. They have the second most points per game. They have the third best offensive rating. They're top 10 in net. Who cares about the defense right now? They do all that with running like minimal Dame Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo pick and rolls. If Doc Rivers, who's said on record multiple times on podcast platforms how he wishes they did that better, I wonder what the first thing that they're going to do is and implement. I think it's a pick and roll with 2 of maybe the 15 best players in the league right now. And I think the biggest things that will help will obviously be defensively. They're not going to be as aggressive. They're going to allow Brook Lopez to continue to be a rim. They're going to allow him to get back in and be a rim protector. I think Chris Middleton has had a a good season, in building back to what they are wanting to do. So a lot of things are looking up for them. They're also a team that it's hard to say make a move because they've made all their moves, right? They might be tapped out, and that might be why they can't get across the finish line. But they have one of the ultimate equalizers in the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Been a weird year for Giannis, all things considered. Is Giannis a coach killer? I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm sure people are saying that. Is Giannis a bad locker room guy, trading teammates and stuff? I'm not saying that either by any means at all. I promise. I love this dude. He's amazing. He's an all-timer. People just kind of forget about him when it comes to what his ceiling is and what their level is. I think it might be a perfect balance of coaching and roster construction to a degree. And, maybe we'll see. But if this team is the last team standing, none of us will be surprised. Moving on. The Minnesota Timberwolves. The way the Timberwolves this season have handled themselves really well. Currently 32-13, number one in the West. They have an offense that is weird and at times makes no sense. Anthony Edwards, every other night it seems, shoots like 8 for 25, but then he'll come back and he'll do shit like throw self lobs and hit huge shots and just be the most alpha-iest alpha in who's ever alphaed. And it's awesome. Their offense is around the 20s in points per game and rating, but their defense is best in the league. And honestly, it makes sense. Jaden McDaniels is an all-world, you heard me, all-world level wing defender. He's one of the best in the league. He is probably going to, if he's not an all-NBA defender this season, I will be stunned. I will eat a diaper or something. Not a full one, just a normal diaper. Listen, do I think this team can win the title? I don't know if they have. Listen, they're clearly in the title bubble, so they can. They are on the confidence scale. I want to believe so bad. I love Anthony Edwards so much. We'll see. They're not going to be afraid. I know that. But can they collectively keep it together for 8 weeks? The Philadelphia 76ers. Is anyone shocked? I'm not shocked. Nick Nurse has definitely changed the outlook of this team. They're third in the East, 29-14. This team has been top 5, 6 in everything this season. They are just under 120 points a game, 5th in the league. Their offensive rating is 7th. Their defensive rating is 6th. They have the 3rd best net rating. They are 2nd best when it comes to free throw shooting. Couple things here. They're bottom in the league, near bottom in the league. In a couple things, they are 25th in three-point attempts, and they're last in the league in bench points. This is a historic season for Embiid, and I lead it back to this team. They do not have much depth, man. They have pieces that they have to go out and get another wing. They have to go get maybe another guard. And I think the Sixers are definitely going to be the team that lands somebody. This team can absolutely win a championship. Tyrese Maxey has definitely taken that step. We saw him last year in the playoffs, inch closer and closer to being one of those guys. He is trustworthy now to be a main primary ball handling guard that can, push you to an NBA championship. If they can just get another guard or another legitimate wing, someone as some swing player, like a Caruso, like a Bruce Brown, like a Jeremy Grant, maybe. Man, this team could be nasty in the NBA playoffs. Next up, things I can't believe I'm speaking out loud. The LA Clippers, title bubble. Listen, last year was the year that I picked them to make the finals because I said they're bound for good luck to happen. Who knows? Who knew that I'd be 365 days early on that one? All these stats outside of the record are since the James Harden trade. They are top 6 in offensive rating, middle of the road defensive rating, which is fine, and 7th in net rating. They're currently the 4th seed in the West. This roster is legit. This team's legit. I dropped my fucking pen. That's not legit, and it makes me upset and flustered that I dropped my pen. But, yeah, The Clippers. They're really really yeah, like I found my pen by the way. The Clippers. I trust I trust I think I trust them. Kawhi's been awesome this year. Like all NBA level awesome. Uh and the team works. That's the crazy thing. I didn't think it would. They have enough dudes where whoever's hot that night, you can trust finishing games and you're like comfortable with it because they have that many options. Um so yeah, man, I really like the makeup of the roster. I like the makeup of the team. So far, they've stayed healthy. Please continue to stay healthy because I just want to see it. I want to see Kawhi Leonard being awesome go blow for blow with Durant, with Jokic, with Shea, with Ant Edwards in the Western Conference playoffs. I just want to see it. So that's where I'm at with the Clippers. Last but not least, the Phoenix Suns, currently on a 7-game winning streak, 26-18. I put them here because they are playing well as of late. The offense is not nearly as ungodly as everyone thought it would be. They are currently 10th in offensive rating. They're 11th in net. They are a little bit behind Milwaukee, who is 10th. The defense, though, also has not been nearly as horrendous as people would think. They are 16th in defensive rating, so middle of the pack. If Beal stays healthy and we get a good 2-month sample size now of this time frame, which is what we've gotten while they've won these 7 games in a row, will that offensive rating start to spike? Is their winning streak? They went into the Lakers and blew them out by nearly 20. They beat the Kings at home. They won by 14 in New Orleans. They beat the Pacers and the Bulls at home. And then they just went to the Mavericks, to Dallas, and got a win there. So there are like some really good wins there and some stuff that's not just, hey, look at all these bad teams they're beating on this win streak. So it's why I'm putting them there. I knew this team would be good. I knew this team would be in the mix, but I'm having them on here right now just because I think it's right. So yeah, that'll do it. NBA title bubble, 8 enter. You can leave, but if you leave, but only if someone else is coming in. I guess no, it's not 8 no matter what, but it's no more than 8. So yeah, NBA title bubble. That'll do her.